Hello, my name is Heidi, and for this presentation, I'm going to introduce you to three valuable genealogical research resources and how they relate to emigration, immigration, migration, and travel. They are Ancestry, Library Edition, ArchiveGrid, and Cindy's List. Each has something unique to offer a researcher in their quest for information. For the purpose of this first demonstration, we will search Archibald Gardner, a fairly well-documented ancestor of mine that made his way from Stirlingshire, Scotland to Canada and later down to the American West. To start off, I will be showing you Ancestry, which can be accessed through the University of Alabama Library's website. You will first need to click on the database icon. Next, you can filter the database by a keyword search here, alphabetically here, or by subject. For this first search, we are going to use the subject guide, Genealogy. We will now scroll down to Ancestry Library Edition. After we click to open it up, and after we log in, after we click to open it up, you will see a home page that may seem a little overwhelming, but in fact is redundant. If you were interested in starting a broad search, you can click on Begin Searching, or come up to the top bar and hover over Search and select All Categories. All the options in the drop-down menu are represented visually below. And again in the quick links section of the page's footers, right here. Moving on, we will now conduct a basic search and narrow it down as we go. I'll enter the names, dates, and places that this form asks for initially. You can also show more options by clicking here and have more of an advanced search, but we won't worry about that at this juncture. There are a few things on this result page that I'm going to point out. The first, do you remember all those specific categories we had the option to choose initially? They are all represented here on the left. And you can view how many hits you got in each main and subcategory. This search came up with very inflated numbers due to the minimal information that I input up front. I can edit my search here or play with the existing search filters here if I want. Before we narrow it down, I do want to point out the family tree search results. Normally, I would need to go down and search within the family trees filter here on the left, but in this case there are so many positive matches, it is highlighted at the top. I can see more like this and view all the results. This shows me public member trees that have individuals with information that match my ancestors' information, and I can view what sources and related information they've saved on this man and his connected family. It is a great way to save research time by taking the time to look at what others have researched already and simply adding on or tweaking to their work. Now let's go back and zoom in a bit and focus on his immigration and travel. By hovering over this first result, By hovering over this first result, I get additional information to confirm that this is the right person, and I can go to the indexed portion of the record to see if there is more information to be gained. In this case, we see that the image is not available, nor is there any additional information, but oftentimes there will be. When the original document is available, you can not only view it, but also save a copy to a storage device or to your computer. Coming back out, we can explore the subcategories. We know he crossed the Canadian border to come to America. Let's click on Border Crossings and Passports. If we wanted, we could take it one step further and try our hand at the document level and go to U.S. border crossings from Canada to U.S. There are no relevant results here, but if we went back and tweaked the search and added what we found from the documents that did match in our initial search, we would narrow it down more effectively and more than likely find matching results related to his immigration. Coming back to the UA databases page, I'm going to show you our next resource, ArchiveGrid. This particular link is not found filed under the genealogy subject, so we will just type in archive in the keyword search. As you can see, there are a number of archive-related databases that all have great information, but most of them have a narrow scope, such as Archives Unbound, right here, or smaller number of resources that they draw from. ArchiveGrid, specifically, is great at helping you find nearby archives, highlighting recent additions to the site, and general searches. This has over 4 million descriptions of archival materials. So let's search Archibald Gardner again. Now it shows me the list view initially, but I can toggle over to the summary view if I want to make my search more specific. In this case, I want to investigate the results in list view. The first several results are all related to the specific man I searched for, and if I click on one to view, I'm taken to the metadata description of the specific archive, and this opens up doors to other resources and information that are not indexed or even digitized. If I'm able to visit or send someone to visit the archives, the information gathered at these archives may hold a key to knocking down some genealogical research walls. While there did happen to be a number of results by typing in a name, none of them were about immigration. We can also search categories. So let's type in immigration. Now you can see we have a long list we can narrow down with the summary view. So first, we will go to Emigration and Immigration, go back to the summary view, and then narrow it down to the United States, Immigration and Immigration. With this, we get down to 825 results. And we could keep on going, but we'll move on to our next resource. This next source is a free database maintained by volunteers and specifically advertised as a jumping off point for online research and a place to help with overcoming stumbling blocks. This site has 333,563 links in total, all specific to genealogy in some form or fashion. The layout is supposed to be like a card catalog, starting out with broad categories, which we will go to first, and working down to more narrow ones. If we click on the categories link, as we just did, we will see the long list we can choose from to start our search. As we scroll down, You can see that there are lists specific to countries, places, blogs, immigration, artifacts, religions, search tools, how-tos, the list goes on. The amazing thing is that once you finally pick a topic, there are still several more layers of narrowing categories that you have to go through. Let's look at immigration, and migration, since it's our focus for this demonstration, not to mention something every genealogist has to research at one time or another. Now you can see that there are two columns, category index and related categories. To go deeper into the thread you've already started, you've got to select another link from the index list. The related categories are there in case you want to readjust the course and start again. So let's go to libraries, archives, and museums, just to compare our previous databases. We get 35 links total, and that is internationally. In this one thing, it appears that ArchiveGrid is better to search for that for this category. But in Cindy's list, going back up even just one level, we see all the other categories that are not covered specifically in Ancestry or ArchiveGrid. So while each one has overlapping bits, it's the unique assets that make them individually important in searching genealogical resources. There are so many facets to each database. I encourage you to jump into them now that you've gotten your toes wet. I hope you've enjoyed the introduction to these resources and the comparison between them. This concludes the presentation. Thank you for your viewership.